we are interviewing actually my daughter. This is Keziah. And I know a lot about Keziah, and I think that she has a story to tell. And so I'm going to try to bring that out today. I know a lot of things about her that I think that her mindset could really help other young people at her age wrap their mind around bigger things. So, highlights Keziah. Keziah has written a book, published, self-published. She raised funds for that. She's ran 5Ks several times. She owns 2 houses. She's married, and she's 19 years old. So, if you're out there and you're impressed, then right now just say, wow! And your person sitting next to you will be like, what in the world? And then you can start telling them about Keziah. So, you were born in Montana.
Yep.
And I was there as a youth pastor at the time. And what are winters like? I mean, everyone wants to know about Montana. What are winters like, Keziah, in Montana?
Super cold. You took a photo once of it being -40.
-40.
So really, really cold.
So how does that, I mean, don't you think, I kind of feel like that maybe has contributed to some of your mindset in regards to, a lot of people just won't do Montana because it's so hard, right?
Yeah.
Do you think that that helped in any way? Like what do you do when it's 40 below?
I mean, you kind of just have to tough it out and wear tons of layers.
You just do it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can't really change anything, so.
So when you were about what, 10, 8?
Yeah, I was 10.
We moved here to Oklahoma, and we've always homeschooled. So you've homeschooled yourself, and I guess we do, but she does as well. Tell us about, that seems to be getting more popular these days. Why don't you tell people about what a normal day for you as a homeschool kid looked like?
So when I was younger, Mom definitely was more hands-on with us, and she would just do lots of school with us, and sometimes we would go on field trips, and we would kind of just wake up and Mom would do it with us, and it was usually more of a group thing. We would all do it together. Then as I got older, Mom didn't have to help as much because I could just look at the book and be like, okay, this is what I need to do. And it was super nice because if I was disciplined and I wanted to get everything done, then I could wake up, get it all done by noon, and then have the rest of the day to do whatever I wanted.
So you were actually rewarded by
working hard.
By working hard, getting up and getting it done. I know this about you, but not everybody does, but you're very goal-oriented.
Yeah.
Tell us about the time you set the goal to write a letter a day for a year.
Okay, so I set a goal. I think I set a goal to write. Yeah, I think that's what the goal was. But I just wanted to write a bunch of letters to people. So I ended up writing.
And we're talking like pen pals, like.
Yeah, like handwriting letters.
Yeah.
So I would just, or if someone was, feeling sad, I would write them a letter. But I ended up writing around at least 500 letters that year. So.
And I know this because I had to buy the stamps. But yeah, so she actually met her goal, and then she kept pushing, and she just blew it out of the water. Keziah, can you delve into a little bit about what your springs and summers looked like as far as work?
Yeah, so my family has an alpaca shearing and sheep shearing business, and he's been doing it for over 20 years, where we'll go to farms, so we're in Oklahoma, so we'd go all the way up to Montana and Washington and shear the alpacas and sheep and llamas and trim the goat's hooves and everything. And I've been doing that since probably 6 or 7, just helping with it, doing it for a long time. And then we started going on trips with him that would last a couple weeks and just help with that. And it was very hard work. It was work literally all day, like wake up at 6 and go to bed at 10 and work most of that entire time, or be driving that whole time just to get to the place. So not really any breaks. Dad would give us a break on Sunday, but we would just watch TV the whole day because there's nothing else we wanted to do. So we did that, and you paid us for it, so we were able to save all that money because, like, we would spend it on some stuff, but we saved a lot of it.
You talked about it being really hard.
Yeah.
Like, in relationship to your life, is it the hardest thing you've ever done?
Probably. It's just super hard. You can overcome it if you can be mentally strong, because that's the only thing keeping you going, is having to be mentally strong. If you can't, if your mind is just like, no, we can't do this, then you're just like, because your body's already dead.
So would you say that having to work at a young age hard and for a duration of time probably helped shape your mindset?
Yeah, definitely.
Have you ever told your parents thank you for getting me to shear? Because I mean, I kind of think that she should tell her dad thanks, don't you?
Okay, thank you.
No, I'm just teasing you. I do believe that, and that is one of the values I see in that shearing business, is it allows me as a father to teach my kids some life lessons at an early age. And I'm in control of the situation to some extent. So, I mean, she makes it sound really hard, and it is really hard, but there was certainly opportunities for, hey, we need to take it easy or whatever. But I do believe I see a lot of value in it to teach my kids life lessons, meeting people, talking to people, work ethic, getting up early, sticking out the job until it's done. So just a lot of value in that.
Yeah, with the meeting people thing, he really wanted us to talk to people more. And so he said, I'll give you guys a dollar for every time you use a person's name. Because we've always heard that when you use a person's name, then they just feel more loved and more connected to you. So my siblings, for some reason, were too scared to do it. And I was like, I'm getting my dollar. So I made at least $100 just saying the person's name.
You made 180.
Yeah.
That one year. Yeah. So easy thing, but very valuable.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's lots of little things in there that we were able to teach. Keziah, how old are you?
I'm 19.
You're 19. And you are married.
Yep.
Can you tell us about that?
Yeah. So my husband and I met when I was 14 and he was 15. And we met at a homeschool co-op, which is basically a once a week thing where you meet with other homeschoolers and you can kind of just learn together. So it's basically a homeschooler's time to have way more of a social life and make a lot of friends. And so we met there, and my dad...
Was it love at first sight?
It was for me. It wasn't for him. It took him like a year. But you knew where it was going, and you said we couldn't officially date until we both graduate high school. So we graduated high school when I graduated.
Because I graduated a year early because of this.
No, I was going to graduate yearly before that.
Oh, it had nothing to do with that.
Okay, so I graduated a year early, and then at 17, and then we got married the next year when I was 18.
And what has your married life looked like with balancing other things? I mean, a lot of people would probably will shame me for allowing that to happen. But how have you guys done the married life thing at an early age?
Well, For me, it's felt way easier than I've heard a lot of other people say. A lot of other people say, oh, our first year was super hard. But our first year has been super easy. And I think it goes back to that we had a couple years to build up our friendship and get to know a ton about each other. And I think a lot of times a lot of people just get married not knowing that much or having a lot of past secrets in their life that they just are like, I don't need to tell that person because it's in the past. But we were very open about, hey, this is all the things I've struggled with and all the things I've done. And I think that helps a lot.
Because you on your honeymoon went to a marriage conference
Yeah.
and you got the award for what?
The youngest couple married.
Yeah, and how many days were you married? Were you married when you went to this conference?
10 days.
10 days. Do you think that there were any nuggets there that you learned that probably helped you establish your marriage on a good foundation?
Yeah. Just they talked a lot about being in community, and when you're by yourself, you just kind of think that you guys are struggling with, you're the only one struggling with stuff. So being in community, and then also just realizing that different people forgive in different ways, and they feel forgiven in different ways.
Mm-hmm.
So that was super helpful too.
Yeah, that's great. And those are pretty key to a strong marriage.
Yeah.
Um, so we've kind of talked about the upbringing, who you are. Something else that's pretty unique about you is that you are a self-published author. Could you tell the audience, the world, about that?
Yeah. So I was on a family trip for 4th of July in Iowa a couple years ago. And I think it was 3 years ago, 2 or 3. And I was just randomly researching stuff and I found out about this book called What's an Abortion Anyway? And it is a pro choice children's book basically normalizing abortion. And I'm pro life, so I don't agree with that. And I thought, well, if kids are going to be reading this, they need to at least have a book from the opposite side because they need to be able to have the truth too. And so I just wrote my own book. And where we used to live, my neighbor, she does artwork. So I said, hey, will you do the illustrations? And she said, sure. So then I raised $5,000 for it. And
you raised $5,000.
Yeah.
And you were how old?
I was 16.
So, guys, if she can do it, you can do it.
Yeah.
Okay, you raised $5,000. You got a who to help you draw the pictures.
Yeah.
You wrote it, you rewrote it, you got other people to give you encouragement, feedback, and then you self-published.
Yeah, I researched a whole bunch about publishing companies and stuff, and I found this one that I could self-publish through. So
if people want to find that book, what's it called, and where would they go to get it?
It is called What's So Bad About an Abortion Anyway, and it is on Barnes & Noble and Amazon.
Okay. And a little inside information, she was actually approached recently by a filmmaker who is pro-choice and who actually wants to make this book into a movie format now. So
yeah.
It's pretty well written if you can convince somebody that is pro-choice that it's a message that needs to be broadcasted.
Yeah.
So, okay, so you wrote a book, you graduated early, you wrote a whole bunch of letters. What else did you do when you were 16-ish? I think you were 16. I mean, this is REI mindset, so obviously your mind's in the right place.
Yeah.
But tell everybody, you had all this money from shearing, and your brother had this money from shearing, so what did you guys do?
So you're into real estate, and we thought that's super cool. We want to get into real estate. And so we found this house, and we both put $10,000 into it that we had saved, and we bought it for $60,000 and put $30,000 into it for renovations.
And how old's your brother?
He is, I think, a year and a half younger than me.
So you're 16,
And
17? You're
I was
17?
17. He would have been about 15.
15. And you guys buy this house.
Yeah.
Now, to be fair, they use their down payment to purchase it and do rehabs. And then because they're not 18, the loan is in under my name. But we had the conversation with the bank. It was going to be their house, so forth, so on. So you guys did the renovations?
Yeah. We had to like bust down the walls, and we replaced the flooring and painted the cabinets, painted the ceiling. We had to scrape the house, all the old paint off the house, which took so long. And we added a half bathroom, so I had to have a jackhammer and go in the bathroom, and it was like drilling super hard, and it hurt my hands really bad.
But you had a bathroom,
Yeah.
right? So talk to us about partnership. You have a partnership with your brother. Was it easy to make all these decisions?
We kind of had some arguments with some stuff because I wanted to paint the house a certain color, and he said, no, I want to paint it this color. But it ended up working out in the end.
How did you guys resolve that conflict?
Well, one thing that definitely helped was we ended up buying another house. We refinanced the first house and took our money out, and then bought another one. So then we basically said, okay, because I will get this first house and Ezekiel will get the second house. And so then it was a little bit more like, okay, he gets to make the decisions on the second house because the first one was mine.
So you use your brother's money with your money. You guys start a partnership. You buy one house, you refinance it, you take your cash out of that, and you go and purchase another house.
Yeah.
And then you guys kind of resolved your partnership, right? I mean, it was more of a gentleman agreement.
Right.
But he got 100% of one house, and you got 100% of one house.
Yeah.
Does that house just sit empty, or once you guys got it ready, what happened?
So we started renting both houses out. And then after a while, after I got married, then I moved into my house.
So, and it's her house. So
yeah.
And it's really nice because I mean, you kind of gave us the numbers. Bought it for 60, put 30 into it. What's that house worth today?
It's worth around $150,000.
Boom, people, $150,000. She's got no money in the game.
Yeah.
So, and she's living there. So, I mean, that's pretty cool. Okay, so you bought a house when you were 16, partnership, resolved the partnership, but you got a house out of the deal. Tell us, Keziah, about, I mean, you got married when you were young, 18?
18. Yeah.
Most people want left alone on their honeymoon. I love real estate, so maybe share with them about the text message you got while on your honeymoon from me.
So I'm pretty used to him just texting me and saying, hey, this is a good house, or hey, look at this house. But and I'll send him stuff too. So we're on our honeymoon, and he texts me and says, hey, there's this house I found. It's a really good deal. If you don't want it, I'm basically going to buy it. And whenever he says that, then I know it's a good deal. And I'm like, no, I want to get it. I don't want you to get it. And so my husband, Micah, he is pretty cautious. And he just was, he knew real estate was a good idea. But being cautious, he was a little hesitant to get into it. So I said, hey, my dad texted, and there's these photos, and he said this house is for sale, and I think it's a really good deal. So he looked at the photos, and he said, oh, this is actually a great deal. I think we should do it. So, and we realized we had $5,000 that we could use for a down payment. So then we said, yeah, let's do it.
So, Keziah, let's do a deal deep dive on this house. Let's talk about numbers. What was the house? What did you guys buy it for?
So the house originally was listed for $75,000, and the guy just was not able to sell it. It's a mobile house. He was not able to sell it, so he kept dropping the price. And it was for, I think it was like 35,000, and then he talked him down to 27,500. So we bought the house for 27,500. It's a mobile house, and in a mobile park, so we do have to pay lot rent. But everything is brand new kitchen, brand new flooring, brand new windows. Everything's brand new, so we didn't have to go in and change anything.
Brand new roof, brand new appliances, brand new AC.
Yeah.
I mean, for people getting started out, it's really nice to have all that new, because that means your CapEx, your unknown expenses are going to be very minimal in the early days, because everything is new. So tell us about financing. And maybe I'll add this. I really wanted them to do this deal because I felt like it was a small deal that would suit them. It would get them a start. But I also knew that it was tied to a VIN number, which is more like an auto loan, and that it would probably be easier for them to get financing from a bank, at least in my mind. I don't know that it makes a difference if that was so. So talk to the audience about going to the bank and getting terms on that. What did that look like?
Yeah, so it's 27,500, and we got the loan for 7.5 interest. So we put $5,000 down payment and then 7.5 for the loan, and basically just signed some papers, and he was like, okay, pay off the loan. So the house is renting. It was renting for $1,175 a month, and now it's renting for $1,225 a month. So the loan is a 5-year loan, but we should have the house paid off in 2 to 3 years.
In 2 to 3 years. So tell us about how it is as a landlord. Is that really hard? What's your tenants? I mean, are they tearing up your house? Have you had a lot of turnover, lots of vacancy? What's that like?
So I think we've been really blessed with our tenant, because we've only had one tenant so far, and they've been amazing. And she said that they want to stay another couple of years. So we honestly will probably have one tenant pay for the whole house at this point.
Wow. And this deal was just out there, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it was on the MLS, picture perfect.
Yeah. Anybody could have gotten it.
Anyone could have got it. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
It's pretty amazing. Because I can tell that you're very goal orientated. You're very driven. So could we shift gears a little bit? Could we talk about maybe some past goals, some present goals, and maybe what are some goals you have for the future? So what's like one of the biggest goals you had in the past that you were able to achieve and get more confidence about?
So, well, this year I had a goal of just reading 30 books, and I have done almost 100 so far. So Woo! It seems usually what happens.
Lots of fiction, huh?
No, lots of nonfiction.
Nonfiction.
Yeah.
So you're reading. You read 100. It's October.
I've read like 98.
November.
So yeah.
You've read 98 books since January 1st.
Yeah.
Of nonfiction. So yeah. Mindset.
Probably 90 nonfiction and then like 8 fiction.
Okay. So that's a goal you have this year?
Yeah. And then I've just had lots of random goals in the past. I have another goal I have for this year is to write a novel. So I'll be doing that next month in November. And a couple of years ago, I had a goal to write 100 letters, and I wrote 500 that year. Just handwritten letters.
It sounds like, and I guess I know this, but something we've learned as a family is to break down goals into habits. So, and then let the momentum of a streak continue to motivate you, right?
Mm-hmm.
And those little wins, those everyday wins, multiply into more confidence.
Right.
So the power of setting goals is huge, right? As far as but you got to break them down into habits. So
Yeah.
if you're going to read through your Bible in the year, what would you do?
Well, so you would say, so the goal is I want to read my Bible in a year. And then you need to break it down into, okay, how many chapters do I need to read per day to do that? And then what always helps me is for every week I write out my goal slash my habits, and I write little check block marks, and I just mark them off for every day that I do all of them. And I never want to leave one unmarked. So, and then it just makes it a habit because I just keep doing them. Then I don't even really have, like, I'll be laying in bed, be like, okay, I have to go to bed. I'm like, wait, did I do all of them?
So you take a goal from a year and you break it down into a day, and then you
Yeah.
give yourself weekly accountability.
Yep.
That's awesome. So what are some future goals? What would you, 5 years from now, where do you see yourself doing?
5 years from now, well, I want to eventually own around 50 real estate houses. I don't know if that would be in 5 years. I'd probably say like 10 houses in 5 years, or maybe like 20. But and
Okay.
then obviously I would like to have a novel published, and I'm not sure what else from there. We'll see.
So I wanted to bring Keziah on today because, well, obviously she's my daughter and I love her very much. But also, I believe that she has so much to offer. And a lot of times you see on these podcasts, people say, what would you tell your 20-year-old self? You're not even 20, Keziah. But what, as we wrap this up, what advice would you like to give to the world about real estate and mindset and and all that?
As far as real estate goes, I would say that obviously you're not too young because I did it pretty young and I've seen people younger than me do it before. And be get yourself into a community where there's lots of people that know more than you, because then you'll be able to learn a bunch from them. And been able to learn a bunch from you, which has helped a bunch. And read lots of books about real estate, listen to lots of podcasts about real estate, just become super knowledgeable in it. And then as far as just in general, I'd say read lots and lots of nonfiction books. Like, it's fine to read fiction, but if you want to grow, then read a lot of nonfiction because it will grow you. And you're basically learning from other people's failures without even having to fail. So that's what I'd say.
Well, thank you very much. And till next time, we'll see you later.